Hello and a warm welcome back to this week's episode of the Face Yoga Expert podcast. This week we have the beautiful Petia. Now, Petia is an amazing abundance and activation coach, and we really delve into everything to do with really creating abundance in your life, listening to your soul, really tuning into your intuition so you can feel the healthiest, happiest, best version of yourself. And everything we talk about is so easy to do straight away. So there are things that you can start doing from tomorrow to bring yourself to a higher frequency so you can have a more abundant and joyous life. So I will link in the show notes all of the information about Petia as well. So let's get into this week's episode. I hope you enjoy it. Petia, a very warm welcome to the Face Yoga Expert podcast. How are you today?
Thank you so much for having me. You're like the happy starting of my day. So it's already being beautiful. Thank you, Danielle, for having me. I really appreciate it.
Well, you're very welcome. And you're the happy end part to my day, because here we're evening, we're on completely different time zones, but we're connecting and we're here in the right moment. And I'm so excited to chat to you and hear about everything. I really want to start at the beginning. I'd love to hear about your journey into holistic wellness, into spirituality, and into everything that you do today.
Thank you so much. And it's so fascinating. If I would believe in accidents and coincidences, I would just say like I stumble onto where I am today. And I feel like you and me both, and your listeners, just know that that's not how life is happening. It's really happening for us. And I feel like I became the one that I really needed on my journey, because when I was growing up in a very small town, in very small country back in Czech Republic, hence my unpronounceable name. So I grew up in a lot of scarcity. And when I say scarcity, I don't mean poverty. It's not like I didn't have a food on my table or we didn't have a place to live, not that. But it was really scarcity, like spiritual. There was no beliefs, like my parents were atheists. And when I tried to like discover from very young age who I am, they laughed at me and they ridiculed me. And so I feel like I was always feeling like the odd one, the different one, the one unfitting and unbelonging. And it was even more like enforced with my stepfather, who was very like physically and mentally abusive, which led me to feel like I'm unlovable, I'm unworthy. Because if even your closest people cannot love you and see you, how would other people do that, right? So that led into toxic relationship with men, with myself, with my body, almost 2 decades of eating disorder and running away from life. Literally, when I was 18, I attempted to suicide. So I feel like all that darkness was to show me that there is a light. And it's something that I feel like really kept me going, that inner knowingness, there must be more in life, even when you cannot see it or experience it for yourself. And that's what really propelled me to keep going and discovering spirituality, personal development, self-discovery, because it's so interesting how we can feel that, oh, it's just me. It's just me who feels lonely. It's just me who feels inadequate. It's just me who feels unlovable and unbelonging. And when we start speaking about this, and that's why, love your energy and love your show, because you bring in the stories and the realness and the vulnerability so people can really relate and they can understand it's not just me. I am not the odd or the crazy one. I have my people. I have my purpose. I just get to embrace who I really am. So that's what I had to start doing, in my journey. Instead of outsourcing my worthiness, outsourcing my happiness, I really had to look into who am I when I'm not everything for everyone. Recovering people pleaser here.
Yes. Join the club.
Thank you. You see, not alone.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm really intrigued to know, you've been very vulnerable and open about some very difficult moments in your life. What was it that really got you through those moments? You talked about the inner knowing. Maybe you could share a little bit more about that.
Absolutely. So I feel like there was this inner knowing and my intuition attempting to point me out to people and places, and I wouldn't listen. It's like we just don't listen. And I feel like when we don't listen to that inner voice, to that intuition, to that inner knowing, it's going to nudge us a little bit. It's like it will start like your intuition, your inner knowing, your inner voice will like nudging you very gently. When you don't listen, it will intensify. And sometimes it's going to just literally knock us down so you can look up and change your perspective, change the people you hang around, change how you're treating yourself, how you're treating your body. And that's what happened in my life. I was knocked down. And one thing that I want to say, you don't have to hit the rock bottom. Sometimes we feel like, oh, I have to go through the darkest dark. I have to go through like complete like breakdown. But I don't believe that. You don't have to get on the rock bottom. You just get to get really radically honest with who you are and where you are. Look at the results in your life. Are they really fulfilling? Are they making you feel alive? Are they really aligning with your truth and values? And sometimes we're experiencing things that are challenging, but it's a part of the growth. So it's not going to be always easy, yet it should feel true to you. So, like I really got to get honest. And there were like few moments in my life that literally my intuition just like shook me, like, hey, wake up. And it's interesting because I feel like, well, one, entrepreneurship, that was like my biggest teacher.
Yeah.
But second, I feel like relationships, whether it's family relationship, romantic relationships. And after my divorce, I was dating a man for almost 5 years. And on a year four, I find out that he was cheating on me for 3 years out of those four. That's not like quote unquote the fun part. The fun part was that the day he met the woman, I was there and my intuition told me, like, inside, I felt like something weird. Like, I felt like, like it wasn't jealousy. It wasn't like we were both talking to other people. There was nothing really. They were just talking. But I started crying. And my, boyfriend back then, he was like, you crazy? What are you doing? Let's go home. This is embarrassing. I was like, I don't know. Then I started to blame it on myself. Like, I am too emotional. I am a few days before my period. Something is wrong with me. And he made me feel like I'm crazy. Well, 4 years later, when I got the email from this lady with so many details that you just cannot make this up, I realized that that was the day they met. And that was the day that I say to myself, I'm never going to allow anyone to make me feel like I'm crazy. There's something wrong with me. I will first trust myself. I will first listen to my body. And I started to distinguishing between what my body feels like when something is true to me, what my body feels like when my inner voice, my intuition is telling me. And again, intuition, it's not logical. It usually doesn't make sense at all. Like
Yeah.
me moving from Czech Republic to London, from London to Spain, from Spain to United States makes no sense. Nobody in my family ever did it. Nobody in my family traveled for school and education. It's just, it was so unlogical that when I'm looking back, it couldn't even be me. It couldn't me thinking. So usually our intuition, it's taking us somewhere where we have never been. And for that, we get to experience something we have never done.
We absolutely do. And now I know you're so deeply connected with your intuition and you trust it with everything you do. And I know that that has led to an amazing life full of abundance. And I'm really intrigued to know, what does the word abundance mean to you?
I love that question so much. I love that question, Danielle, because I feel like sometimes people, when we say abundance, the first thing that comes, it's like, oh, money
Yeah.
and financial freedom and wealth. And I'm like, yeah, that is nice. And I love that, right? It's not like I want to have all of the other abundance, but not the money. Thank you. That's bad. No. However, for me, abundance, it's how am I feeling in my life? For me, abundance, it's waking up with no alarm in the morning. It's being able to snuggle my dog in the middle of the day and have a lunch or breakfast with my husband because we both work from home. It's being able to drive a safe car. It's being able to take my dog to the vet, or me going to like a specialist or like premium midwife when I'm pregnant now. It's those things are just like freedom to be myself, expressing myself, working with the clients that I love. That it's like ultimate abundance. Because in the past, I would be just doing whatever was expected from me to doing, working in a corporate. And then when I started my first business, I would just take any client, just like, oh, I gotta pay my bills. And you're just like so like needy. It doesn't sound good, but
Yeah.
that's where I
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
And that was scarcity because I
Yeah.
didn't trust myself. I didn't trust that money will come. I didn't trust that there are people who would value me. And so abundance, it's freedom. Freedom to be yourself, freedom to express yourself, freedom to work and be around people that you love, doing things that really light you up. And then when you feel this freedom, money has to come because you're magnetic. And it's interesting because like I've been on the other spectrum where I was working, like I'm coming from Eastern Europe, which means that I was taught you have to work really hard, you have to like hustle, you have to compare yourself with everyone and everything. So you have the better car, better body, better husband, better dressed kids, like always compare. That's a scarcity. That's not self-expression. So for me, it really took years of rewriting. And it's not like I'm living on a pink cloud. It's not like it's all butterflies and rainbows and my life is perfect. I still do the work every single day. Now, the difference is I know what is working. I know what is helping me. I know how to ask help. Now I have a support. And it's different versus me trying to figure it out on my own because of my ego, because being afraid who would judge me that I'm weak if I don't figure it out on my own. That's how I was raised. And, many women in Eastern Europe, I don't know, like, how is it like growing up in other countries? But that's how it was for me. And I know it impacted me, witnessing my mother, witnessing my grandmother, their behavior with life and relationships. There was not much abundance, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, I resonate with so much of what you say, and I'd love to know if you were to share with the people listening perhaps three practical ways that people can start to cultivate that feeling of abundance, because it starts with that feeling. What would those first three steps be?
I love it because I really honor when people can walk away with like, okay, nice for you, Petia. You got it. You got it, Danielle. What about me? I'm still
Yeah.
sitting here in my stuff. So I feel like what made a huge difference for me is shifting my energy right upon rising up. Because how you feel in the morning, it's going to determine, it's like a catalyst for the rest of your day. So in the morning, whether you have 5 minutes or 2 hours, make sure that you reconnect to yourself and that you're feeling spacious. If you wake up in the morning, you're rushing out of the bed, you don't have nothing prepared, not your clothes, not your food, you grab your phone, you grab your laptop, you're feeling rushed, that's how you're going to feel. It's going to feel at scarcity because there is not enough time, not enough energy, and it's a snowball that you really don't want to start. So in the morning, like right now, it's easy for me to say because yes, I'm pregnant, but we don't have kids. Like,
Congratulations, by
thank
the
you.
way. I'm so excited for you.
Thank you. We don't have kids yet, Many of my clients are mamas. I have single mamas of like 2, 3 kids, so I understand they don't have like an hour or two like me. And there are days when I'm traveling. There are days that I have an early morning. There are days that I have commitments. And those days, 5 minutes, it's enough. Waking up and just putting one hand on my heart, one on my belly, and just breathing and feeling my body and feeling into gratitude. What am I thankful for? I'm thankful for my comfortable bed. I'm thankful for my dog snoring by my side. I'm thankful my husband is bringing me lemon water. Like, the gratitude of the things, what can you appreciate in the moment? And also like looking at things, what am I excited for today? Because usually right upon rising, we have like never ending to-do list in our heads, like, oh, I gotta do this. And again, you're going into this rushing fight or flight energy. And that is just taken away from that joy and pleasure and abundance. So ask yourself, what is one thing I'm excited for today? Maybe it's your tea in the morning. Maybe it's a walk in the afternoon. Maybe you will call your best friend. Maybe you will take a long bath. Whatever it is, one thing you're excited for. And then one thing you will do only for yourself. I feel like it's so important, especially for us ladies, because we will take care of everybody else. And then we will get to the end of the day frustrated and feeling unappreciated because we didn't fill our own cup. Again, one thing you will do only for you that doesn't include like well-being and pleasure of anyone else. What will you do that will bring you smile and make you feel really good? Will you read a book? Will you get a massage? Will you light up your favorite candle? Will you just, sit in your backyard and looking at the moon? It can be so very like easy, and it can be just really just few minutes. Sometimes for me, it's just like sitting in a shower. I am like such a mermaid. My husband is always calling me mermolphin, mermaid and dolphin. Anywhere by the water, it's like
Same.
to me. And I
I'm
live in
exactly the same. I am exactly the same. I need to be in a shower. I need to be in a bath. I need to be by the sea,
yes.
even by the river. Yeah,
Mhm.
I'm the same.
But I love those tips, the breath, the gratitude, the filling yourself with excitement and joy. Those three things alone, you are so right. They help to fill us up and get us in that energy, because when we're in that energetic frequency, then we can start to manifest. Then the abundance things start to come. It all starts with those really small, simple things. I often think that when we talk about abundance, when we talk about manifesting, people often think that it's going to be a really big, long, complicated process, or there's like this magic formula. Well, actually, what you've just said there, and I would have said exactly the same thing, is we start with those very small habits, and they're daily habits that are consistent, and they're really quite simple. But what they do is they change our frequency. And when we change our frequency, everything else changes. It really does.
Speaking to my soul, Danielle, I love that so much. And I love that you say it's like small daily little habits. This past weekend, I was just hosting a VIP weekend for my client. I used to do retreats, and now with the baby in the belly, I'm like, I don't have energy for groups.
Yeah.
I do 101. So I did a weekend with my client, and her intention was like focus on her business and finances. And where we started was nurturing her, was making her feel softer, making her feel slow down. Because what happens is that, again, we are so much in our flight or fight mode that we forget about healthy habits. Like, she would get busy, she wouldn't eat, or she would like grab like fast food and things like that. I was like, how do you want to grow and run your business when the most important thing, you and your body, the temple that you have got, it's not being taken care of? And it's very interesting because, I work with a lot of coaches, entrepreneurs, healers, service providers, and I'm like, you are here to serve others. You're here to help others, and you don't nurture and nourish yourself. How do you want to do that? So sometimes we feel like, oh, it's the the big strategy, it's a big program, it's something big that it's going to change our life. It's the daily small habits. I told her, start drinking lemon water, start drinking celery juice, start drinking the labels on your food, stop eating fast food outside, looking more to, like, I'm a plant-based, so for me it's easy, like it just feels good to me, like physically and emotionally. But I'm like, look at what you're pouring into your body. And it's so beautiful when we can see these shifts. You don't have to change everything, but going from 4 coffees to 1 and then quitting, I quit like 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so funny when people are like so proud, like, I'm such a proud coffee drinker. I'm like, you're proudly killing your adrenals. So no judgment. We all have our like choices. You know what you're doing. At least you have to know what you're doing. And I feel like it's small little daily habits. What am I going to put inside of my body? What am I drinking? What am I eating? What is it alive? And I don't mean like, like running bunnies. Again, I'm plant-based, but I mean like, did you eat your fruits and vegetables? And it's like, it feels like a little kid, right? Like, eat your fruits and vegetables. But if you're not fueling your body, how do you want to live a life full of abundance? You can, and listen, I did it. I was working really hard. I had the money and I was miserable because I was sick all the time and burnout all the time. And it just didn't feel good at all. So I feel, and I used to be, like personal trainer, fitness trainer, totally not healthy. I know that there are fitness trainers who are healthy. I was just like, I want to be skinny. That was like my whole thing. Not healthy at all. But I feel like I'm bringing more of the like taking care of your body and nutrition back into my business coaching, because again, it's not a strategy. If you're tired, if you're frustrated, if you're exhausted, if your body is running on adrenaline and cortisol, how can you create fulfilling life? You can't. So I teach my clients, yes, business strategies. I got my MBM, I have my marketing background and everything. Cherry on the top. Money, cherry on the top. You waking up in the morning and not feeling a brain fog, not feeling groggy, not feeling tired, not feeling like, oh, another day. That is such a huge win. And that's where the abundance starts.
Yeah, I agree. Again, it's those small daily habits and really simple habits that are making the big difference. And I'm really interested to know about human design and about how that, I know that's a whole podcast in itself, really. And we have actually on the Face Yoga Expert podcast done a few episodes on human design. I am hugely intrigued by it myself. I'll start off saying what I am. I'm a 5-1 generator. How about you?
Me too.
No. Yes.
5. I wanted to
Love.
ask you what you are. I'm 5-1 sacral generator. Welcome to the club.
Yes, I love that. I actually have to ask you astrology as well. I know we're going to talk about human design, but tell me your sun, moon, and rising.
So I just had a birthday last week, so I'm a proud Taurus. My moon, it's Pisces, and my rising, it's Capricorn.
Wow, what a good combination. Yeah, I'm Sun Pisces, Aquarius moon, and Aquarius rising.
Oh, beautiful.
All water and air.
You see, no wonder we're such a like water lovers. And it's funny because like my sun is, Taurus, but I'm Pisces in my moon, but I also have like a lot of water signs in, like in my chart. And I'm like, I'm just a water baby. I need to live by it. We lived in Tulum, Mexico last year, like 10 minutes from the beach. So I really love that. But to like have family, we came back to States to settle down. When I was telling my husband, I was like, I stayed here for a few years and then I'm manifesting house on the water. I want to live in a house on the water like that. That's like my vision. But I love that you're so like into the human design. I feel like,
I love it.
Oh, it's so life-changing because I started studying human design about 5 years ago. And it's funny because before that, I had such a huge resistance. A couple of my one-on-one clients, they were studying it and teaching it. And I'm like, oh, one more thing. It's like, like another modality. And then I just kept hearing about it. So I was like, well, I gotta see like what it is. And I had my first reading, and oh my gosh, I never felt so validated, so seen. It was like sitting there like so naked, and I'm like, wow, like I never felt so understood. Because I don't know about you, Danielle, but I used to love like personality tests and all the quizzes and everything. But the thing is, like, I'm a little bit like smarty, because I would like, ooh, if I give this answer, I will get this result. And depending on my mood, like I would like change the results. And with human design, there is no messing around. There is no cheating. Like, this is the time, this is the place, this is the birthday, and that's what it is. And it's beautiful experiment, because I feel like it's really freeing us to experiment what works for us and not. And it's not like you and me were 5-1 generators, so we are same. It's not true. It's there is so much into that. And I started to use it. So I started study 5 years ago. And I feel like it's super important. And for me, Danielle, honestly, like instead of, it's like, what's your name and what's your like, like now I'm like, I want to know, I want people feel seen. I want them to feel heard. So anyone on my team, anyone that I work with, anyone who will even like have a call with me, I'm like, give me your like
birth time.
Because I feel like I can see people better and I can honor them better. And when you know someone's human design, you can know so much about them. And I feel like it's beautiful for me, because I am also very intuitive. I was speaking yesterday. I'm a part of a mastermind with my mentor, and there is a lady who was like talking about human design, and I was sharing with her, what is the difference between specific and non-specific manifestor? Like you can get a free chart and just like look at the transformations that are like the arrows above your head, and the one on the bottom on the right side is the one that is going to say that you're either specific or non-specific, depending on where is it like, showing. And so I was explaining her that, and I was telling her she's non-specific and I'm specific. What are you?
I'm specific.
Of course you are. So I'm specific. And it's so interesting, because when you're in like coaching or business industry, very often they want you to be specific. They want you to niche down, to have one specific idea client, like go into the details. Sometimes it's very overwhelming for people. Like human design also made me understand, because my identity, the G center, it's open, the diamond in the middle. And that means that I'm like a chameleon. I like doing a million things and just trying, depending on what environment I am in. Then I'm always in like this search for my like purpose and direction. And that's why niching down and doing like one thing never worked for me. I have like 10 different modalities, and I'm like, don't put me in a box. So using human design and understanding intuitively, it's huge, because this lady, she told me I had 3 human design readings, and you told me in one Instagram message in 1 minute more than I paid for in 3 sessions. But the thing is that I could see her, you know what I mean? I could really understand where she's struggling with business. And you can look at chart and look at relationships, and you can look at business. And I feel like it helps us to go so much deeper. So I really encourage everyone, if you never heard about human design or never took a test, you can, on my Instagram, I have a free chart there for human, and it's super cute. I'm Taurus. I love beautiful things.
You do, yes.
So the chart is beautiful, but what I also love, it's in the past when I was trying to do like free chart, it's like one website gives you this, one website gives you this. And my website, like there is everything. There is your environment, there is your definition, like everything. So yeah, human design, it could be like a whole new like episode, but I feel like just starting understanding yourself, I feel like it all goes back to you, back into who am I and who did I come here to be? And it's very life-giving when you start to understand yourself and the people around you. Like my husband, he's a manifesting generator, and he's emotional, 1-3. And, we're together for over 5 years. So it was perfect timing discovering human design and being with my husband, because I would think he is crazy, because as manifesting generator, he has so many passions and doing so many things at the same time and skipping steps. And as the three, he's like a big experimenter, like he's like trying things and see what is working. Most of them then don't work. That's why experimenting. And he's emotional. And I used to feel responsible for his emotions. I want my loved ones to feel good. And so when I learned, like, wow, this is not mine, I don't have to own it. I can let him go through his waves. And if he wants to talk, we can talk. But I don't need to give him unsolicited advice.
Yes.
So I feel like human design can really deepen all of your relationship in your business, in your job, in your home, because people will feel seen and understood, and you will stop taking things on you that are not yours.
Yes, absolutely, completely agree. And again, I think it comes back to the same thing we've talked about all the way through, which is really understanding who you are inside. And really, I think it's about waking up and remembering who we came here to be. So that's all it is. Human design is this lovely modality that puts it on a piece of paper and says, this is who you are. But actually, inside, we already know that. It's just that when we get that piece of paper that says all that, we read it, we go, oh, yes, it's like someone has said, it's okay to remember who you are. And that's the same as our intuition. Our intuition, we're going into our soul, we're remembering who we are. So it's almost about that deconditioning, about just going back through all those years and all those traumas and all those layers and all of those things that have made us into something that we're not, stripping all that back and actually saying, this is who we are. And whether that's listening to our intuition, going into our soul, doing human design, it all brings us back to the same place, which is knowing ourselves.
I so wholeheartedly agree, Danielle, because sometimes we feel like we're lost or that something is wrong with us. And I deeply believe what you said. It's about remembering. It's about remembering who you came here to be. And it's so interesting. When I was a little girl, and like I don't remember like much, but my grandma, the stories that she told me, it's like I would speak to strangers and I would have so much energy and I would be like so self-expressed. Like I would like be on a bus and I would like ask a lady like, oh, is your booty sweaty like mine, and things like that. Like I couldn't, like I
just
wouldn't
true to
say
yourself.
yes,
truly speaking your truth.
yes. And then we're getting shut off, like grandma feeling embarrassed, grandma taking you out the bus, you cannot speak to strangers, you cannot say this, and we're getting all of this. And of course, like our loved ones, they want to protect us, and sometimes it means that they are taken away from our personality and who we really are. So it's remembering, because I used to think I am introvert. I used to think I don't like people. Comparing to the little like 3-5-year-old me to what I used to say for a decade, now I'm checking in like, what is my truth? Well, I love people, but I love my people. I have a tribal circuit, individual and tribal circuit in my human design. So it's not like I don't care about the collective, but I don't like big groups. I don't look at like the huge picture. I'm very tribal. You're my family. You're in my circle. I will like breathe for you. I will do anything I can. But I'm not like this big, like, big stages and big groups and big people. So again, understanding yourself and discovering what is my truth and what feels good for me right now. You will change and you will evolve, and things that felt good to me a year ago not necessarily align now. And that's why I said, like right at the beginning, it's the radical honesty with yourself.
Yeah, I agree completely. And what I'd love to ask you as a final question is if you could share your top tip for inner peace, what would that be?
It's so funny, but really the first thing that comes to me right now is breathe. I know it seems like
Yes.
so simple, and
Yeah.
I find and I'm breathwork facilitator, so I might be biased, but sometimes like when I'm going through some things, my husband, he's like, "Are you breathing?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm not." Like,
Yes.
we are like rushing through life and going so quick. Like, come back to your breath, reconnect, take a few seconds, whether you are driving, whether you're in a bed, whether you're going through a full long day. Even like I am here and I'm like so excited to be here. I'm like, I am not breathing as deeply as I could because I am
Yeah.
like so energized,
Mhm.
breathe.
Yes.
When you breathe, you will come back to yourself. You will come back to your truth. You will come back to your essence. Breath, it's our life force flowing to us and through us.
Yeah.
So if you can slow down for a couple breaths, few deep breaths, reconnect, you will create the inner peace and you will see the world in a different perspective. So keeping it easy and practical.
I love that. And I would say the same whenever people ask me. I had a podcast a week ago where someone asked me a similar question and I said breath and gratitude. So always exactly the same as you completely, and doing everything we can to bring ourselves into the present moment. And again, that helps us with that abundance. It helps us with remembering who we really are at a soul level. Petia, I love this chat with you. It's so heartwarming and it's so lovely. We've got so much in common. It's so amazing. And I would really love you to share with everyone where they can hear more about you, where they can reach out and connect with you.
I'm super, super excited that we connected too. It's so beautiful when you meet someone like smile to smile, and it's like
Yeah.
so many beautiful synchronicities and energy. So I'm so deeply appreciative, and especially because you're ending your day with me. So what an honor. And I feel like the best place really to connect with me, it's my Instagram. I am there on, daily basis, or my team, takes care of it when I like tune out over the weekends. Or my website, Petia Kolibova, both are Petia Kolibova, one is petiakolibova.com. And there's everything that I'm creating and doing right now. And right now, because I have this beautiful second trimester energy, not sure when we're launching this, but I have the energy for it. I also wanted to pay it forward and really connect with people who are truly desiring to activate the abundance in their life. So I created free 30 minutes call to activate the abundance in their life and really see where might be a blind spots or blocks and limiting beliefs that we can bust through and create strategies to activate the abundance in their life. So I will share with you the link too while I have energy for that.
I love that.
Like I'm generator, I can create
Yes.
that light me up. And when you're growing a human,
Yeah,
energy it's a little bit different. So
definitely.
all of that, it's also on Instagram in my bio.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.